Hello, Sean.
Always happy to see you, my friend. What news?
What can you tell me about Alan?
You shouldn't care about that little prick, Zachariah. That moron is only worthy of attention because he is the physical amalgamation of all the flaws technomancers have. He would be a wonderful case study for the Seekers, but other than that, he doesn't deserve my attention, and especially not yours.
Do you know my captain?
I've had the opportunity to run into her a couple of times. She is a respectable woman, I think. She's known to be fair with men. Of course, the fact that she is not a technomancer means that she'll never understand the stress and priorities we must face. Only our own can really understand what we're living. But you'll have to deal with it. You could have come at a worse time. To a certain extent, I think that she won't hesitate to defend you against those who won't miss an opportunity to get in your way. If you don't disappoint her, of course. Be straightforward with her, and tell her what you want her to know. I think that with that woman, that is the best way to do it.
What do you know about Colonel Victor?
Do you know how dangerous this question could be? That man oversees the ASC. He has ears everywhere, and he has terrorized the population since he took it over. I'm convinced that he is aware that we are hiding something from him, and he hates it. Everything he doesn't know, he believes, deserves his interest, and he's right in that regard. He will try everything in his power to find out our secret. He will not hesitate to use every plot and scheme in his book. If we were to have only one enemy, it would be that man.
You're very bitter when it comes to our corporation.
Why shouldn't I be? People here are naive, content, and perfectly happy. Maybe I am a little more outspoken than others. What can I say? You were lucky that you can leave your place of birth. How many have had such luck? And now that you are a Mancer, you will have the joy of discovering the breeding we have to give in to. A few years from now, we will find a Technomancer spouse whom you will be expected to have little Technomancers with. And then it will be their turn to be united against their own will, and so on. You wonder why Technomancers are degenerates? We are all inbreds. Not mentioning the fact that we are also used as war weapons. The fact that we have no hope of getting out of the golden prison in which we have been locked up. Anyway, don't let me break your spirit. You are different. Maybe you will manage to escape all of this. If so, I'm with you wholeheartedly.
What else can you tell me about the dome that we visited?
Alas, we lost with it alongside all the knowledge that we had accumulated there. We could send men to scour the place, I suppose, but with all that sensitive information, it may not be the smartest idea.
What do you know of our chapel?
It is built on an ancient colonial ruin. The ones who erected it made sure that we could only get in through 2 Technomancer doors.
There isn't anything new to report. Goodbye, Sean.
Goodbye, Zach. Be careful.
Zachariah, a pleasure as always. What may I do for you?
Can you enlighten me regarding our enemies from Aurora?
A fascinating corporation run by people with virtuously idiotic names. Chastity Smith, Decency Johnson, Benevolence Wilson. But beyond that, Abundance's obsession with hiding any and everything Aurora has made us weaker, less prepared to engage them. And though the youngest of the water corporations, they are still somehow winning the war. Driven by religious fervor that keeps their masses in line, and aided by a vision of technomancy that, wider than ours, serves them far better. They seek out technomancers in their youth, cultivate them so their numbers far exceed ours, and they separate them, keeping them from inbreeding.
How is Aurora governed?
Aurora might be Abundance's troubled child, Zachariah, but it is still its daughter. Not only do we share our ancestry, we are set up the same, led by a dowser and a council of representatives from various groups. The greatest difference lies predominantly in the import and power that have been bestowed upon its clergy. And with them, religion resides in the hands of their technomancers.
What can you share with me about the war?
How about a truth that few are brave enough to say? We are losing the war. Even though our enemies have not come out unscathed and are losing momentum, in the end we will lose territory, facilities, maybe even entire cities. In time, I am certain that we will launch a new attack in an effort to regain our pride and take back what we have lost. But we shall fail and fall again, unless our internal politics radically change, a change as likely to happen as this planet turning blue.
Can you tell me anything about a soldier in my unit named David Ward?
I've been privy to some scarce talk of the boy. Tales of a once good soldier grown bitter and cynical, and none too pleased to be answering to a technomancer. More nuisance than cause for concern. But just be aware, Zechariah. For one who turns a blind eye might just lose the other in the process.
What can you tell me about Jeffrey Hunter, another soldier in my unit?
Little of note. A spry young farm boy, little more than a simpleton fresh from greenhouse, if word serves correct. So as always, at least from my perspective, caution is in order when it concerns anyone like this lad, anyone who is not a brother or sister.
I wanted to talk to you about something.
What about?
We're looking for a scientist who disappeared. Name's Charles Seeker. All I found is some of his research. Seems he was studying technomancers before getting arrested and sent to a camp.
Charles Seeker. Yes, the geneticist. Geneticists pose a risk. Scientific discoveries are always threatening to expose our secrets. Your friend Scott even worked on the same research years ago. Never found out what Scott did or didn't discover, though. He ended up drinking himself into irrelevance. So I stopped worrying. Whatever research you found, make sure no one sees it. Could be our downfall.
I finally managed to meet the merchants you told me about. It wasn't easy. The mob kidnapped them for serum. I freed them before talking to them.
I'm sure gratitude helped to loosen their lips. So what knowledge was gleaned from such lengths?
Word that Aurora is running large-scale excavations along the shadow paths near our territory, and in the process uncovering important objects, maybe even a relic.
Fascinating. Finds that are no doubt better off in our hands than those of Aurora's technomancers. Keep those merchants close, Zechariah. Information like that is such a priceless commodity. You are no more free to roam than the rest of us. Of that I have no doubt. But if you find yourself with access to a rover and perhaps find a way to that excavation site and locate the relic, well, you cannot know the value it might hold if brought back to us. It may seem petty. It's a mission for some rusty relic that may or may not even exist. However, if you are able to slip away from Ophir,
How are you, Zachariah?
I'm fine. And you?
Good. How may I be of service?
Lieutenant Zachariah Mancer. What a pleasure.
Hello, sir. I don't think I've had the honor of meeting you before.
Ah, of course. I'm Colonel Victor Watcher of the ASC.
Colonel.
At ease, Lieutenant, at ease. Simply came to congratulate you and learn that you become a technomancer of the highest degree. For a young man from the Rogue family, that's a terrific achievement.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Your road must have been difficult, but you persevered. An outsider who managed to work his way into the ranks of the elite technomancers. A marvelous story, especially given their secrecy. They've always fascinated me. Do you have any insight as to why they chose to be so insular?
I'm sorry, Colonel, but I don't know what you mean.
What a shame. By coming to you out of friendship and camaraderie, I was hoping that you wouldn't treat me like an outsider, too. All right, then. Back to your duties. But think about what I asked, and we'll see each other again.
Lieutenant?
Lieutenant, sorry to bug you, but I gotta talk to you about something. Look, Lieutenant, maybe it's just because I'm not used to life in the city, but...
Cut to the point, soldier.
I think we're being tailed, sir. I think someone's been watching us, but I don't know why.
All right. Any ideas how to figure out who it is?
Hell yeah. I ain't no hunter for nothing, sir. I'd say we could leave from, say, the barracks or something and head towards the exchange. But, you know, act casual, like it's just another day. We just treat it like we're out for a walk. Then, once we know we're being followed, we lead him to a trap down a dead-end road. And pow! You've got him. Or her. Whoever it is.
That's one way to go. I don't know. Gotta be an easier way. But let me think about it. We'll talk later.
Officer? Yoo-hoo! Officer, could I ask you a favor? Officer Zachariah Mancer, a sight for sore eyes. Our hero, brave and strong.
I like where this is going.
Well, you know, you were just so nice, and if you wanted, if you had time, I know you're probably busy, but if you did...
What?
I'm just glad you came to see me. I was just thinking about you. Feel like you're maybe the only guy who could help me.
Why? What's going on?
I just don't have a lot of friends in Ophir. Never really had time for them, but one of the few I have, Abby Goodsman, owns a stall. She's a great girl. Lately, though, she's been scared for her life. Soldiers have been trying to extort her for serum. They tore down her stall and threatened all sorts of horrible things when she wouldn't pay. As an officer, I was hoping you could find out who these wicked men are, and figure out why they're messing with a good girl like Abby. Please, I'm really terrified for her.
If you're positive they're soldiers, that's weird. Yeah, I'll look into it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I knew you were a good guy.
Can I ask how you ended up becoming an artist?
That's a long story, officer. Not the happy kind. Don't want to depress you.
I got all night.
All right. Okay. You asked for it. I got left alone when I was young. Parents died, so I was forced out on the streets. One of 1,000 orphans like me. Did a lot of stuff I wasn't proud of, but had to get by, you know? Then I got lucky, and the center took me in. Gave me food and clothes and an education and hope and a purpose once they taught me music, and confidence once they told me I was talented. So, when I was old enough to leave the orphanage, I got lucky and met some other musicians who gave me a lot of help. Ended up performing in some bars around the slums. Not glamorous, but I got lucky and it got me here. So, maybe the story's not so sad after all.
I gotta go.
All right. Well, maybe I'll see you again soon. Be careful. Would hate to lose a guy like you around here.
You already back, Lieutenant Zachariah? Despite the attack, the officials reached the source. Good work, Lieutenant.
All safe and sound at the camp as promised, Captain.
You're already making yourself one hell of an asset, Lieutenant. No doubt those officials owe you their lives. You sure as hell earned your pay. You'll see the quartermaster to get it. Our response to the attack can't be passive. We strike fast, we strike hard, and we strike now. ASC discovered that they got in through the underworks, through tunnels connected to their shadow paths, so that's where we're gonna hit them. Get a rover and Amelia Reacher to drive you there, and wipe the Aurora shits off the face of Mars and destroy their damn tunnels. Failure's not an option. This is a mission of pride for this army, not just for abundance. They struck us in our home. For that, we'll annihilate them. Don't let us down, Lieutenant. During their assassination plot, Aurora's diversion attempts destroyed some of our city's roofs, forcing us to evacuate blocks of citizens to protect them from the sun. We need the repairs done, and done quickly. But instead of working on the repairs where they're damn well needed, the fucking mutants have now chosen to revolt. Put an end to it, Lieutenant. Get them back to work so our city can get back to living.
Will do, Captain.
Before you go, Lieutenant, I want you to know, your professor, Captain TECHNOMANCER, leaving the city for the front. Might want to go say goodbye.
Thank you, Captain. Appreciate it. And tell me what you know about the enemies of Aurora.
What is there to say about Aurora? Their profound youth, rivaled only by the enormity of their ambition, threatening to take all that we've built. A cult with their technomancers guiding their minds and souls with as much ease as they guide their weaponry. How they trained and equipped so many eludes us, and therein lies their advantage. That and their willingness to send civilians, even children, to die in war.
How is Aurora governed?
The Dowser at the helm. Sans a council of the people around him. Their former Dowser died of old age, replaced by the well-admired General Wisdom. Ridiculous people with ridiculous names, if you ask me. But that's as deep as my knowledge goes on the subject.
And how goes the war, Captain?
We're mired by setbacks. But it's nothing we can't recover from. We're better trained, better armed, and now with our elite units, we're more capable of combating their technomancers. Victory will be ours in time. Our experience and stability will win out over their youth and religious fanaticism soon enough.
I assume you got more intel on the attack. What happened?
Apparently some double agents from Aurora were hiding out in the slums until they launched the orchestrated attack. One group created a diversion while the others tried to assassinate some of our civil servants. They might be enemies, but they're not idiots. Their diversion was thought out, made a hell of a political statement. They knew that destroying the roof shutters would incite panic in the lower regions of the city. Needless to say, it's also humiliating that they could pull it off. Damn lucky most of the damage was contained and the bulk of the city's just fine.
What do we know about the mutants who revolted?
Just simple creatures that got too frustrated. They know a lot of them will die during the repairs we're trying to force them to make. Like animals, they need to be trained. Broken in. But like any animal, there's a line where us using them in a certain way becomes cruelty. So they revolted, because their supervisors abused their power. I want you to go see how they're being treated. We keep them well-fed and well-equipped, we can keep them well-behaved. Those things don't go out looking for fights if we don't make them.
How's the mutant pen organized?
It's just like a work camp in the city. The creatures have places to eat and sleep, and otherwise, put to work on projects in the area. Sometimes they're even brought out to do work elsewhere in the city. They're always returned at night. It's not a bad setup, but unfortunately, the city's expanded and now there's houses built right up against the pen. With the idea of a revolt, it becomes a powder keg situation. Those creatures could do some real damage. We should have moved them further from the population when we had the chance. Maybe near the roof. Would have been fewer risks.
Where the hell's this shadow path, and how'd they manage to build tunnels into Ophir?
It's out by positions we lost to Aurora months ago. We may have occupied the area, but we had no idea about the tunnels. Maybe they were built by Aurora after they took control. Or maybe they were already there and the shits just stumbled across them by accident. Quite frankly, I don't give a damn why. We just need a solution. And it'd be a hell of a lot easier to close it off at the source than trying to find our way through the Underworks labyrinth.
So what are we up against?
Not in detail, but I'm sure it's nothing you can't handle, Lieutenant. Soldiers and the like, including your Aurora counterparts, Technomancers. I hope that won't be an issue for you. I know you all see each other as brothers and sisters, but they're not, Lieutenant. They're your enemies, and I trust that you'll have no problem treating them like that.
Who's Amelia Reacher?
You really don't know her. She's an icon of abundance. Its poster child. Youthful and courageous. The daughter of one of Abundance's great discoverers. And one of the few people who can fix and drive the rovers.
Hi.
Lieutenant, how can I help you?
Captain Eliza told me to come find you for my pay.
Indeed, I've been expecting you. Here you go.
TECHNOMANCER, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Big on weaponry, I hope. What can I get you?
Never noticed all the beggars in the neighborhood. This a new thing?
No. They've been here way too long, if you ask me. More and more keep piling in. They're ruining my business. Not a clue where they're coming from. All I know is they keep pouring in, broken, disabled, putting it out there for pity. Clients coming around don't like that. Me and my colleagues would pay a hefty sum to anyone who could get them out of here and move them to the slums or somewhere. You could be that someone? Yeah?
I can try. What else do you know about all these beggars appearing?
Not much more than you can see. They're all missing an arm, which is weird. First, I figured that they were all wounded soldiers from, the front, but mostly that's because the story they were all telling. It's just a stack of lies. Obviously, time changed my opinion. Because our beloved abundance would never let our veterans and heroes flounder like that. And looking at some of them, the shape they're in, pretty clear they were never soldiers. They're just deformed and disabled and a nasty sight to look at. Why they all chose to litter these streets, I don't have a clue.
Hello, Fiorello.
Ah, our savior is here. It's, wonderful to see you again.
You seem a bit preoccupied. Things not going well?
No, it has. Everything has gone very well because of your efforts. Let's just say that my leave of absence didn't help my business. Don't think I'm not grateful, friend. I appreciate the thought. What can I do for you?
Rumor is you merchants have a secret city hidden somewhere.
Ah, yes. The cave we open with the utterance of a magic word to protect our troves of treasures. A tale, Mr. Mancer, nothing more. We are merchants. What goods we have, we sell. To buy more goods, which we sell, and so forth and so on. There is no secret in our ways, or treasures hidden in faraway caves.
Can I ask what corporation you're from?
You can ask, but you may be disappointed by the answer. None. My parents were traveling merchants like me. The road is my home. Always has been. Not to take anything away from your corporation. Its technical miracles, beautiful city, and all the rest. But I don't think I could ever settle down. There is freedom in having no ties.
So how does it all work? You merchants trade with each other too, or...?
Our lives would be impossible otherwise. The travel required to collect the vast array of goods we purvey would be impractical, to say the least. For instance, a fellow merchant is traveling to your hydroponic farms as we speak, and is gathering goods that he will swap with me to bring back to Alliance's territory. And there are other merchants who trade goods with me from territories even further away, and on and on and on. We would be at a loss without each other. So, we stick together. A big family, in a way.
I can't imagine everything you've seen. How far have you gone?
We can't really leave the Shadow Paths, but those ways connect nearly all the big cities on the planet. That said, my travels usually take me to Junction Complex, Alliance's main city. A place that would surprise you, I should think. Filled with mechanization that the corporation has rather strangely invested so heavily in. I've also been to Shadowland. Its center is far more baroque, and its slums boggle the mind with how far they stretch. But Abundance's explorers, I know, have gone much further than I. To the ends of the planet, I hear. Maybe one day you might join them on an expedition. Experience the world yourself, rather than just hearing of it secondhand.
Who's the girl? She doesn't exactly look like a merchant.
It is a good question. I found her tied up in the warehouse that we were dumped in. The poor thing cannot even remember her own name. Figure she must have family or friends around here though, so I keep her with me, hoping someone might recognize her. Just banking on luck though. Maybe as an officer, you might be able to check and see if someone has reported her missing. I'm sure her family would be grateful, as I would.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you, Officer Mancer. You are a man of endless generosity.
Listen, maybe I can help. What's going on?
You are too kind. I am so deeply indebted to you. Anyway, yes, I am a little worried. More than a little, to be truthful. Two of my regular clients, after the kidnapping, must have assumed the worst and just left. Haven't heard from them. No one but you, I admit, cared enough to come to look for me. That said, their merchandise is here, but I have no way of telling them I am back without the risk of exposing myself. I don't mean to treat you like my errand boy. I only ask because you offered your help. Anyway, if you could let them know, I could compensate you as well. One of them, I'm sure you know. The barracks quartermaster. The other one is a slums merchant.
You know where the merchant's at?
Of course, of course. If you have a map, I could show you. Bless you, Mancer. 1,000 times over, bless you for all you've done for me.
Look at you. Glad to see you. Can't tell you how much your help was. It is appreciated. Well, things might have worked themselves out in time, but who has time these days? And you sure saved me the hassle. You're a technomancer?
I am. Zachariah Mancer.
I'm lucky, in name and in life. You Mancers all stick together. Know each other real well, don't you?
Know each other, maybe, but we're scattered between here and the front.
Right. The front. Of course, the front. So, I take it you know where I can find I believe his name is Master Connor?
He's still in town, away from the front, training recruits.
Lucky again. Just what I wanted to hear. Think you might be up to do me a favor?
Either way, I'm here. Tell me what you need.
Simple. To meet Master Connor and relay some information. With your help, of course. Without your help, well, being just a simple merchant, unwelcome outside the exchange, I suppose it'd be a bit harder. If not, you know, impossible. You know as well as I do, a common merchant can't just stroll up to the likes of a master. So, you get me in front of him, and I'll owe you one. How about that?
I'll see what I can do.
And I'll be much obliged.
couldn't believe it myself. An explosion, right in the middle of Ophir. The roof collapsed. We're still tallying the bodies. Aurora bastards! How could they do such a thing? They have no regard for human life. I've been jumpy since the attack and caught my son the other day. Crying, just from the memory.
Last mineral consignments were delayed. It's going to really mess up the factories and workshops.
Because of the war?
Yeah, most likely. They didn't give any specific details, but it doesn't matter. The workers won't be able to work, and I won't be able to do my job. That's the bottom line.